And a third of the year is over. Hey now, that is no joke. All right. So, aha. I mean, all right. Very good. Tom Barkley is entered. And it's time for us to get going. Welcome to Lifewriting Live here on May 2nd, 2025. My name is Stephen Barnes. I'm the creator of various technologies that we discuss here. And more importantly, I've used those technologies to create a life that I really enjoy. It was kind of interesting. I had somebody, talking to me about a number of different physical indicators, things I should know this about my blood pressure. I know should know this. I should know this. I should know all these different things. And frankly, I usually don't know any of them. What I do know is how to be healthy. So when I go to the doctor says, "Oh, you're fine." Uh, the people who have to keep track of these things are people where they're spinning out of control. I just don't have time in my mind for everything, but I do feel that we have time. So let's put that a different way. We don't have minds that are large enough to hold everything, but I do believe that we can hold everything that is important. So continually asking yourself what is most important to you is critical. All right, so let's see. I know that Tananarive is here, but she's only going to be here for a while. So let's let her come in. Are you ready to go on camera, sweetheart? Is she there? And maybe she's not. So I tell you what, while we're waiting for her to decide whether she's here or not, because she is in another state. She is at the Salem, Massachusetts Horror Festival. And she's one of their guests of honor. And so she's out representing the family, and so I know that she will be back. She said that she'd be here for the first part of things. But let's unmute ourselves and say hello, because that's the way we always get started.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Hi.
everybody.
Hello,
Always glad to see
everyone.
everybody.
Yay. Hi.
Yeah,
There's
and
Jamie with the
remember,
plants.
remember that
Hello.
the magic formula is fractal. You apply it to the first minute of the day, to the first 5 minutes of the day, to the first hour of the day. Then you forget about it while you get your stuff done for the day. And at the end of the day, you check it. So, in micro form, if you just check your goals in the morning, run quickly through the magic formula. Do I have a map of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish? Do I see three important actions I'm supposed to take today? Am I starting with a sense of gratitude, positive emotions? Do I have a clear indication of what my goal is? In other words, can I photograph it? Can I tell you exactly what it's going to look like when I accomplish my goal? And are the actions in alignment with the person I want to be? Oh, there is my wifey. So
There I
just to
am.
make sure that you don't have to stay on longer than is comfortable in your situation, just kind of
Hello.
check in with us, sweetheart.
Hello from Salem, Massachusetts, everybody. I'm here at the Salem Horror Fest. I gave a keynote last night, and I'm juggling literally trying to write the last chapters of my book against the obligation to read an MFA thesis that I agreed to do with the faculty on Monday. And I'm like, kicking myself, like, I want to be writing. But I have to say, this thesis is so absorbing and great that I'm, instead of feeling like this is a writer I'm giving like advice to, it's like, which editor do I know who can publish this, which is a good feeling. In fact, it's a great feeling. It's the best possible outcome. I'm glad they came to me. So yeah, it is what it is. But how frustrating to be away from home in a hotel room by myself, nothing but time between these events, and I'm not able to just write all day. But it's okay. I'm getting through it. And what do I want to talk about? The theme here was the horror within, which is an interesting theme given the times we're living in. So I talked a little bit about, how we look back at some of the things that we're not proud of that we've done in our own past, where we were the monster in someone else's story. and acknowledging that, yes, we all do have a little bit of that monster within, or before we knew better, before we learned better, and how the monster within works in terms of domestic horror, of course, which is the worst kind of monstrosity inside the home where you're supposed to be safe. But what we're dealing with is, to me, sort of institutionally, the monster within the house, which is the nation, and kind of fighting for the soul of the country, and how we use horror and allegory and all that stuff to try to fight back and keep our souls and light a path. So that's what I was talking about, and hopefully you're all finding your own ways to do that in whatever ways you interact with the world.
What? Who's at the convention? You mentioned somebody that was interesting.
Okay, I should know her name. People in the chat will know her name. She was the final girl in Hellraiser. Ashley Lawrence, of course. I have to look it up. I'm so bad with names. But yeah, Ashley
I
Lawrence was
have such
here.
things to show you.
And she told the sweetest, honest story of because she was a young, completely inexperienced actor when she first got cast. Clive Barker sounds like he was a lovely, lovely mentor. They've been lifelong friends. And she's lifelong friends with the cast. And she totally embraces, so that the interviewer asked her, at what point did you realize you were going to be stuck, with that final girl label from Hellraiser? She's like, I don't feel stuck. I love it. Which I think is such a happy attitude. If you're going to be known for something, you might as well enjoy it,
Very
right?
good. Very good. So tell us just a little. Remember, we were talking about insecurities. I mean, I think that it's really important if we have a chance to talk to somebody who's extremely successful, and you are
Where are
by
we going to find that person?
i-
Oh,
any reasonable standards. I think that the delusion is that people are just talented or lucky or privileged. That
hmm.
whereas there is luck involved in your life, of course, and although you very clearly had fine qualities, I've been able to witness the amount of work that you put in, and by looking at your history, know the amount of work that you went through to become, the Tananarive. What people
Sorry.
often don't grasp is the insecurities involved. They let their insecurities stop them. I get the feeling that you use your insecurities to power you in a weird way. Once you do that, you actually use them to drive you. Would you talk to us a little bit about your fear in connection with, like, even this project,
Yeah,
the
I
number of
think
insecurities you had here?
I'm trying to think about whether I really felt like my insecurities were driving me. It always feels, at least consciously, as if you're working to overcome them. And for me, it's been just the practice, right? So for it's to me, it's very separate. Like I can go through a day where I feel a moment of crisis because my book has historical chapters and contemporary chapters. And my biggest fear is probably that those sections aren't going to blend the way I want them to. I pulled it off in The Good House. I pulled it off in Joplin's Ghost. But for some reason, this one, I feel like maybe it won't work. Maybe because it's a creature story. It's kind of a highbrow Tubi movie, the contemporary
Let me ask you a
story.
question. While
Yeah.
you were writing Joplin's Ghost and The Good House, did you feel that those sections were working?
Um, I see it's so long ago now. Um, I never do know until someone reads it, to be honest. I hope it
See,
works.
that's exactly right. You felt
Yeah.
this exact same insecurity every time. But then once you're done with the project, it's like a woman giving birth. I've had women tell you if you could really remember what it felt like to give birth, the human race would die out in one generation. That the pain of going through the creative process is always there. But once you have that beautiful baby in your arms, you forget all the pain and all you remember is the positive things. So people who are going through pain, who when their favorite writers don't talk about that, they think that it's unique to them. The pain means I cannot do it. In your mind, given that perspective, what does pain mean to you? in a creative process? What is pain?
It's just, I mean, first, it's something that you're hoping to channel through your work. Like, I wrote what is maybe the final chapter and what I consider the primary point of view character's voice. And I had sort of thrown together a rough draft in a white heat. I wrote 12 pages last weekend, just and now I'm reading back over to see how much of it is going to suck. And in fact, as often happens, I'm finding most of it didn't suck. I was actually quite happy with it. And then with some fine tuning and buffing and polishing, I got to the end of the chapter and I was in tears. And I was like, aha, there it is. So that's the pain because I'm empathizing with the protagonist's story. Even though she's a bit monstrous, I've known her whole life as the author. I'm empathizing with her story. And at the same time, I'm channeling the pain I feel that is more about the institution of Hollywood and systems of discrimination that have caused real life pain, similar to what my character felt, but in the world, not just in a story. Like she's not someone I made up. This is not, I did a lot of research into Dorothy Dandridge and Lena Horne and Sammy Davis Jr. and all these great performers from back in the day who had to sleep on the dressing room floor, Sammy Davis Jr. once, because there were no lodgings. You know, people talk about Jim Crow in the South. Jim Crow was all over the country. There were specific places that were, you didn't know. I mean, honestly, I would not have gone up to many places just to see if Black people were allowed to stay there. That's why we have the Green Book, to tell people where it was safe to stay. It was you're yeah, it's just horrific what people had to go through, how dehumanizing it was. At the same time, they were so talented. Of course, it's dehumanizing for everybody, but there's something to me that's particularly galling about someone who has extraordinary talent who gets treated like a bug. I mean, yeah, we'll pay you money. Like you get, and they were getting a lot of money, some of them, but no dignity, the money without the dignity. So it's the opposite of sort of the Southern Jim Crow and the reformatory, which was no dignity and no money. Hollywood was, yeah, we'll give you money, but you're still not going to have any dignity. And that, again, is the systemic monster in the story. Despite whatever monstrosity happens otherwise, that's the pain. That's one of the things my agent was worried about, is that I wouldn't be angry enough writing this book. He said, don't pay any attention to that script. He hadn't read the script. There's a lot of anger that went into that script too. But he just thought maybe the script would be kind of floating here, like sort of commercial entertainment. And he wanted me to like dig in and find the guts. But what he didn't realize is that we had already dug in, Steve and I both, because Steve has been a huge partner. And like from the beginning, like when it started as a short story, Incident at Bear Creek Lodge, his DNA is all over that short story. Some of the great ideas have survived not just through the short story, but to become very epic, symbolic scenes in the novel version, you know? So I'm really grateful to that, honey, to have you to bounce off of. And one of my insecurities was, oh, you spent 7 years writing the reformatory, but you've only been writing this one about a year, not even a year and a half. But that's not true because we wrote the script. That took a year. I had written two short stories. So actually, I worked on this for about 4 years.
Well, not only that, but remember something, that the obstacles that you went through to be the person who could write the reformatory made you stronger. So that
Oh
stronger
yeah.
person who went through it does not need 7 years to write at that level. That person's ready to write at that level right at that moment. The additional work you've done has made you a better writer. And the idea being that if you can go deeply enough into your process, you can produce that quality of work and you should have easier access to that process. The problem is it doesn't feel as hard to hit the same
Right.
level, so you are afraid that you're doing a
Yes.
lesser job.
And this is the key, and you hit the nail on the head. And I'm remembering the conversation we had, well, part of it anyway, with Octavia Butler back in the year 2000, when she talked about what a long, hard write Kindred was. And for me, that was a reformatory. It was a long, hard write. It was like one of the few times I did not feel like I was having fun while I was writing. Um, And she wrote a book as a reward for that book. And now that's the part I don't remember what book she said, but it might have been Pattern Master, let's just say. Or it was some book that, yeah, I think it might have been Pattern Master that was her idea of fun as a reward for writing Kindred. And I wanted this. I want Bear Creek Lodge to be my reward for writing The Reformatory. So even though, yes, there's pain at the root of it, and it's about things that are uncomfortable and ugly, both in a family and in a system. I laced in some dark humor throughout. Like I was cracking myself up as I was rereading some of the passages in the 13-year-old's voice. I mean, I don't know if you all would get the joke, but there's a broken ski lift at this grandmother's property, and they're complaining about having to climb up all the steps. And he's refurbished this lodge, and it has its own ski trail. And they're like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna have to fix the ski lift." And mom and dad are looking at each other like, "You must be crazy. We're not gonna build a damn ski lift for a place we never visited. I mean, what are you out of your minds?" It's just like little personality stuff, misunderstandings that teenagers have about how much money their parents have and how they're going to spend it. Um, anyway, I'm having a blast. And I think that's the one lesson I want to give any of you who might have that misunderstanding about your relationship between pain and creativity. Because yes, it's true that maybe I'm more likely to dig more deeply if I'm writing about something painful or even wallowing in that pain. But I think it's possible to write about things that are painful without wallowing, because I haven't been wallowing while I've been writing this. I've been having a blast. I mean, the pain is real, but I don't have to, like in the reformatory, I hated feeling like I was in 1950. But in this book, even 1927 isn't that bad, because she's a child star on the set. I mean, hey, I'm having a great time on the set, even though horrible things are happening to her. But I'm really excited to meet Charlie Chaplin, and Hattie McDaniel. So I was just having fun. And I think we can't forget that, even if we're writing about painful things, writing can, I won't say should, but writing can be fun. And don't forget to have fun. Don't forget dark humor to sort of blunt some of the impact sometimes. Yeah, just we have to find ways because the idea is to sort of liberate the pain, not to stew in the pain, if that makes any sense.
It absolutely makes sense. I mean, pain is one of the primary motivating forces in human behavior. The other one is, of course, pleasure, but pleasure is less acute. Pain gets you off your butt in a second. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what we have to do is to understand that there's always pain that we can dig into in our lives and in our memories. We've all lost parents and friends and opportunities and sense of self. The question of how do we turn that into power to me is with gratitude. You know, that you found a way to talk about some times that are extraordinarily painful in our history and events that are very painful, but you found ways to take joy in it anyway. To me, that's not different from life itself, that you have to deal with the reality of the pain that is always there. That if you wait until that pain is biting you in the butt, it will tear your life apart. You literally have to associate with the pain before it bites. You have to be aware of the dog before it bites so that you can take actions. And people who have that sort of grasshopper sense of I'm feeling okay right now are never the ones who can create multi-generational change or
Yeah,
even
you have
protect their
to
own
try
families.
to have awareness. That's why mindfulness is good, journaling, meditating, really trying to be aware of how you're feeling. And I'll give you an example. When I was
Please.
flying here, I was in an exit row when I was flying here, which I thought would be a good seat, not a good seat, because there was enough space in the seat in front of me. And there was a little bit of a leak on the wall next to my left side. And I had noticed that my briefcase was a little cold at one point, but it was a super long day. I was very tired. My foot had slipped up against the side of the wall, and it might have been there for about 90 minutes. And it was the weirdest thing because I just had this gradual sensation that something didn't feel right about my left foot. I was groggy and I'm like, why does my foot feel weird? And why it felt weird was when I touched the outer rubber sole, it was freezing cold. When I reached inside my sock, I could not feel my toes, okay, because they were so cold. And what really shocked me was how it was like a frog in the boiling water kind of thing. I had no sensation that I felt cold or that I should zip up my jacket. It was just my foot felt weird. It was very isolated. And that's just an example of body awareness, right? Which is something I've had to exercise outside of my space. I have a very curated space at home, and the outside world, not so curated, because there's this cold spot here I didn't know about. And I think that back to sort of our own human psychology, we have to find a way to sort of mine those cold, dead spots, the things that we've numbed over, the things that we don't want to think about, so that we can grow beyond. Like, we need to rub those toes, is what I'm trying to say. Rub those toes. It stings a little when the numbness wears off. And sometimes people draw away from that sting, but it's actually that stinging that is healing the foot, right? It's healing, it's bringing circulation back. That's your sign you're going to be able to move your toes again. And when you, hey, I'm going to wrap it up like this. When you move your toes again, you can run. How about that? But yeah, just finding those spots, massaging them, not draping yourself in it, and but enough to rub the toes back awake and make sure that all of us is engaged and alive and able to feel gratitude and have the fullest human experience we can have in the time that we have here to have it.
Oh, that's lovely, sweetheart. You said that if you can hang around longer, that would be fantastic. But if you have to dip out, why not? Could you? If there may be somebody who'd like to ask you some questions or something like that, would you be willing to take
Yeah, I can
some
stay here
questions?
until 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. So
Okay,
sure, someone wants
so
to ask
let
me.
me remove the spotlight and see. Does anybody have a hand to raise? If you have any questions to ask Tananarive, this would be a great time to do that. Let's see. I don't see any hands raised, which means that what you had to say was a full meal. Very satisfying. I like that.
That's fine. That's fine. Speaking of a full meal, I just ordered some Cuban food for lunch. I'm here in Salem, like I said, so maybe if I drag my lazy butt out of the hotel, I'll buy some witchy stuff. There's a Samantha Stevens statue I need to go pose next to, apparently. This is a witch town, and I've been in the hotel room working, so maybe I'll get out and see the town a little bit.
Okay. Well, you take care, sweetheart,
All
and
right. Love you
I will see
guys.
you
Take
tomorrow
care.
night. We'll
Right
we'll
on,
talk later
everybody.
on.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Great. Let me take my. I'm gonna spotlight for everybody. So what we're about here is trying to, is aiming at having the best life possible. And for us, it that would be body, heart, our relationship with ourself and with our community, finding a soulmate or whatever that is. Money, that's the tool of that's the hunting and gathering in the adult world, the adult human world, and art. Because I believe that we should express ourselves in some way, even if it's just dancing around the kitchen. You need to have some sense of something that you're doing for your own benefit. Now, if you combine art and the urge to make money, now you have a potential career path, but you have to navigate with both artistic integrity and a sense of marketing. You say, how am I going to play this game? How am I going to stay in this game? My idea was that I would rather spend all my time writing than half my time writing stories that were very precious to me and the rest of my time flipping burgers. That I decided I would rather write episodes of Baywatch and be able to, and find some way to take pleasure in this and get those bigger checks. That was a decision that I made. Everybody has to make their own. But what we want is for you to make a decision that leads you to having a goal that is, your destiny. This is what you want. At the end of your life, you want to look back and think, I did it my way. I did it right. And then that question becomes, what is the path you'd need to walk in order to reach that destiny? And what person would you have to be to take a step every day. And do you want to be that person? Would you like to meet that person? If the answer is yes, I'd like to be that person. I'd like to meet that person. I'd like to take that journey. Yes, I'd like that destination. Then it's just a matter of designing your days so that every day you're taking one step, even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when you're afraid. You don't have to be able to see the entire staircase to take the first step. And every time you take a step, the next step is generally revealed. So before we open, and start having some jazzy time with this, where you guys, question me about things, there were a couple of little things that I wrote today. I always start the day. What I want you to do, that magic formula thing, mapper, model, action, gratitude, intention, and core alignment. You, at this moment, I think that the most important thing you can do is morning and night, you look at your goals and you ask how they relate to the magic formula. And that can take you no more than 60 seconds. I mean, seriously. You look at it in the morning, you have 3 things you need to do today. You do have a map for it. What is the action you're going to take? Are you feeling good about it? Are you clear on where you want to end up with it? And is this in alignment with who it is that you are? If those things are true, and like I said, 60 seconds, then you get out into your day, you do your day. At the end of the day, you do another 60-second check-in. It's like, what did I do? How did I do with it? And if you did a good job, pat yourself on the back. Happy dance. If you didn't do quite as well, you go into kind of your scientist mode. Well, what went wrong? Why didn't I do it? How did I stop myself? All right, well, let me roll these tasks over to tomorrow and let me do things a little bit differently this time. Maybe I change my priorities. The most important, eat the frog first. Maybe I need to eat the frog before I eat breakfast. Maybe I need to do, if it's the atomic goals that we talk about, tiny little goals that are still tiny little steps, so like one sentence on your book, one Hindu push-up, one, 5 breaths, deep, slow diaphragmatic breaths, speaking an affirmation. My vision is stronger than my fear. My vision is stronger than my fear. Whatever it is that you need to counter the negative voices that stopped you. So if you can see how, if you can just get 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, you can start controlling that first hour of the day as well as what you're doing through the day. So the equivalent of the sentence a day is taking 5 minutes to check in with your breathing, ground yourself, remember where it is that you're going, ask yourself, am I on that path? What am I doing today? How is this working? So one of the things that I do every morning is to journal. I have a physical journal, and I also write using OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, which allows me to, I have physical journals going back decades, and I have the OneNote going back years. And it's nice because if you keep track of your thoughts, it's kind of interesting to visit the younger self. You look back a few years and, where was I a couple of years ago? And hopefully you're making that 1% progress. So one thing that I wrote today had to do with going to the movies with my son yesterday. So I was on my way back from The Accountant 2, which I really enjoyed and thought had a lot on his mind, with Jason, and we spoke of the world, of the need to constantly ask, who am I and what is true? But as you dig into yourself, how do you know that you're getting closer to the real you? My take on it. When you make contact with the person you really are, you will feel peaceful, powerful, more aligned with the world, more open-hearted and loving, with infinite creativity and increased empathy. But also, and this is critical, you will sense the snarling killer ape in the dark cave just behind you, or the fanged wolf walking in the shadow at your side. Both the open heart and the snarling wolf simultaneously are part of your existence. Any voice or image that weakens you tries to say that you're less than the stars, or tells you that you're better than other people, which is just an inferiority complex masquerading as confidence, is egoic bullshit to be cast aside. Be real. Engage your survival drive, and then open your heart. Be an adult human being, without which the children and the child within are not safe. Just, thoughts. The other thing I have is the notion of weaponizing synchronicity. That the magic formula is saying that you can control luck to a degree. And I've asked somebody said, Ann O'Connell said, a circular staircase metaphor for life. Absolutely. Life is not circular, it's a spiral. And you're always either going up or down. So you have to decide which it is. You can't stay still. You're playing chess against time, and time always wins ultimately. But the intermediate games you can win. But if you wait too long to make your moves, time will sweep your pawns off the board. Let's take a look at that question of weaponizing synchronicity. Is it possible that when you do things in this way, you increase your luck? This is kind of what I'm saying. And I'm doing these talks partially to get you guys to experiment. Will you try this? It seems true to me, but I don't know if it's true unless I hear back from lots of other people. And I've heard back from a lot of you over the time. But I really want you to try this. But the question of, on a logical level, how can it be true that if you have a clear map or model and you're taking lots of action and you're filling yourself with gratitude and you have clear intentions and you're constantly asking, who am I? How could that possibly create luck, synchronicity? Well, I had some thoughts about that. Map or model. There are infinite paths in life. And once you found a true path, your efforts move you forward and you're constantly recalibrating with new information, allowing better choices and recognition of opportunities. So you will see opportunities you didn't see before. Is that luck? No, it's wider vision. Action, is necessary to get out of your head and into the world. The world is what is true, not your imagination about the world. And as said, everything you do changes you and changes the world around you. You're both learning and planting seeds. Luck? Well, you're creating opportunities. You're seeing opportunities. Your reticular activating mechanism is set up to sort for what you consider emotionally important. So if you're taking action, following this model, you're saying, this is what's important to me. You think that maybe your brain starts seeing things a little different. I definitely think that that's possible. And once again, you will see opportunities. You will not just create opportunities by your action, but you will see opportunities that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. 3, gratitude. Gratitude creates faith and optimism. You both become more attractive to others and train yourself to see new opportunities. Negative people will miss opportunities that are right in front of them. You will also meet other positive people. It is a truth. You are no more than 2 degrees of separation from a soulmate or a potential business partner or mentor. You don't chase success. You attract it by the person you become. Your gratitude, when you start becoming the kind of person who looks at the world with gratitude, you start attracting people who need that positivity or feel that positivity themselves and are seeking tribe. Once again, you're attracting the kinds of people who have the opportunities and the knowledge that you need to move forward. Luck? 4, intention. That's your goal. You read or write your goal morning and night. Your energy will attract people looking for someone like you, and you will automatically look at every potential action and ask, will this take me closer to my goal or further away? Remember that your primary goal is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. Again, that reticular activating mechanism. If you buy a particular car, you start seeing that car on the roads. If you buy a particular dress or suit, you'll start seeing other people with the same thing. It's not an increase in luck. You start seeing things you didn't see before. 5, core alignment. That's C. Constantly ask, who am I? And who do you need to be to accomplish your goal? Remember that success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. In other words, someone else can make you rich or famous, but only you can make yourself successful. Who you are is the bedrock of everything you will ever do. The only way you can sustain action over time. You wake up in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed, but I got to feed my kids because I'm a dad. I got to feed my cat because I love my kitty. I'm the kind of person who takes care of this. Your sense of who you are will keep you going, even when you don't feel like doing it. Otherwise, you're like a gorilla on roller skates, very strong, but no balance or leverage. You can't use the strength or intelligence that you were born with. Those things in combination make me very comfortable saying, if you check every day for the quality of the map or the quality of the mentor that you have surrendered to, and everything I've gotten in my life has come from willingness to find people who could do it, emptying my cup, suspending my ego, and saying, teach me, Sifu. I mean, seriously, that's it. Action. Take one step every day towards what you want. Gratitude. Overwhelm yourself with the wonder of life and being grateful for life. Because if the meaning of life is to embrace joy, then you are starting your day being successful. Most people think they have to accomplish something to be happy. No, be happy and then go out and accomplish things. Clarity of intent and the feeling that every day you're doing something that really does express who you are at the deepest levels. This, in a lot of ways, comes as close as I've ever been able to come to a personal expression of what it takes. And if you make sure that you don't have a 0 in any one of those categories, you're moving forward at the rate of about 1% a week. You want to move faster? Get a 4 or a 5 in every category. And if you want to really rack your life, if you want to really break through blocks, get a 7 or an 8. Clarify, find mentors, take massive action, fill your heart with gratitude so you're feeling it every day. Reread your goals morning and night, constantly clarifying them, and constantly ask, who am I? Constantly be digging in and constantly looking for the answer that makes you feel stronger, more loving, and safer in the world. Okay, so I'm going to remove this spotlight, and what I would love is to have people raise their hands, and let's see how you're doing in terms of the magic formula. See if you've got any zeros. Did you have a 0 any day this week in any one of them? So if we take responsibility for that, then you can have a better week next week. So remember, this is a matter of looking at it. Did you have a map of what you wanted to accomplish, of how to get there? Did you take action? Did you fill your heart with gratitude? Did you clarify your goal? And were you constantly asking, who am I at the deepest level? So did anybody have a 0 in any one of those in the past week? I'm just going to wait and see who's going to lie about this. Come on, somebody got a 0. All right. You can make me call on you. So volunteer or you will be voluntold. Okay, Leone, are you there? Leone,
Oh, I had to unmute myself. I'm disconnecting from my
please
phone.
do.
Okay.
Okay, so
Hi, everyone.
we can
How
hear
are
you.
you today?
Oh, we're fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I went to the allergist today because I was not feeling comfortable with things that are happening when I'm eating and all that stuff. So I took care of that. Um, and I've been making lists of things that I need to do to get my business rolling. So previously, when you asked that question, I had a 6, but it's probably more like a 4 because there are things like setting up a website, getting marketing done, um, and then finding businesses that I want to market to. So I plan on doing mailers, and that's going to take more than a month. I wanted to have everything completed by July 1st, but I'm not sure that that's really an achievable date.
So let me ask you a question. What's the time where you are? I don't know what time zone you're in.
I'm Pacific time.
Okay. So the question I ask you is, what are the three most important things for you to do today? Just three.
Just 3. Write. Well, first breathe, write, and accomplish my goal to make money.
Okay. So
Work
in
on
order
those
to
things.
let's say, would you say that your health is pretty good, your stress levels are pretty good. What you need to do is increase your income. Would that be reasonable?
I want to say kind of. I feel like my health's been bad. I'm an energetic person and I usually feel good. Even if I'm upset or sad or whatever, I usually feel good. But my body, I like right now I'm having a some kind of sinus something going on. And it's bothering me because I haven't been able to focus 100%.
Okay, so have you talked with a doctor about this?
Yes, I had a physical week before last. I went to an allergist today. I have to go back next Tuesday to get for them to get samples, and this is both for food allergies and air allergies.
Okay, so let's say that talking to an allergist, going to the allergist today, was your physical thing. That's the physical things you need to do today. Okay, so
Yes.
let's go to the next arena. Emotionally, what are you doing to take care of yourself emotionally? That could be the allergist because the allergy is connected to your energy and your energy is connected to your mood. So it could be that going to the allergist is part of that. But you have the room for something specifically like meditating, you know, getting hugs, reading,
Mhm.
reading a book, a sacred book that you love, or one that's inspirational. What are you doing to take care of yourself emotionally?
That's a very good thing. A very good question. I usually, first thing in the morning, I have my oath of manifestation that I like to start off with. I did
Good.
not do that this morning, but I do like my oath of
Ah,
manifestation just to get my day positive
okay.
from the
Would it be
start.
reasonable for me to say that what you did for yourself emotionally was come here today?
Absolutely.
Because
I
we're
mean,
always going to encourage you to be the best you can be and to love your life. So tomorrow you'll go back to the manifestation book, but today you fulfilled that too. So let's focus on the money thing. The Rachel Rogers, We Should All Be Millionaires, has 7 things she wants you to do every day. Let's take a look at what those 7 things are. I've got Rachel right up here. So you could delegate one task on your to-do list. Could you do that?
yeah,
Okay, great. Move your body, just to exercise and get funky a little bit because energy is what drives your success. So you could exercise, just walk around the block or something like this. You could do that, right? Okay.
yes.
You could connect with your squad. Now that's kind of what you've done here because we're all about getting rich. It's just not all of us want to get rich financially. But I am willing to talk with you about let's double our income. And you have to be careful who you say something like that to, because if a person has failure consciousness, you say something like this, it's going to trigger all their insecurities. Who do you think you are? That's not possible. You can't do that without selling it. Whatever that stuff is, you have to stay away from those people. You need to have someone you can talk to, preferably every day, but certainly once a week, who is going to encourage you to believe you can double your income. Okay, get that? Then there is do one money generating activity. Now, this is a good thing. So, what can you do today to generate more money?
I can complete my Fiverr profile, which I was working on yesterday. There's one piece that I couldn't get past, which was it says add your tag, and it said add 5 things to it. And I added 5 things, I guess, for my tagline for people to be able to find me, but it didn't work. And so I put a feeler out on Facebook, like for anybody who's on Fiverr who set up a Fiverr account to tell me what I'm supposed to write. And I haven't got that yet, but that's my money-making goal.
Okay, so you might be able to. So your money making goal is to complete your Fiverr profile. You
Yes.
might look on YouTube how to set up a Fiverr
Ah,
profile.
thank you.
You bet,
I should
absolutely.
know that.
No. This is why there's more than one of us, sweetheart. No
Yeah.
one has all the tools, and stress literally diminishes our capacity to make contact with our genius, make contact with our brilliance. Start with the confidence that you're a genius, and then when you're not operating at genius level, assume that something got in the way. I mean, it's not literally true, but it's true enough that I'd rather start with that than start with the other thing, which is, God, I'm not smart enough to do this. So let's take a look at the other things. Think $1 million thoughts. Just be sure that your mind is looking at money as something that is positive, that is in alignment with your values. For instance, the more contribution I make, the more money comes to me, would be a positive thought about money. What, when you look into your thoughts about money, what do you believe money is?
Money is a way for me to not uh, stress about me having a wonderful vacation every year. Um, just things that I want to attain. I've changed a lot as far as like just frivolous things that I want, like well, except for my Adidas tennis shoes. That's my obsession. But other than that, I just think about making a home and seeing my family. And that is travel. That includes travel. Just being around family, friends, and home kind of stuff.
Okay, so allow me to suggest that I heard some negatives in there. You
Ooh,
know, that money is a way for me not to worry about being able to take a vacation. Okay, as opposed to money is a way for me to take a fantastic vacation with the people that I
okay.
love. You see the difference there? That
Yes,
you're
yes.
looking at money as a way to avoid suffering, and it's great for that. Money is actually better at avoiding suffering than it is at creating pleasure, because most of the things that we take pleasure from are things that have nothing to do with money. That money removes the obstacles to being able to spend time with your family, so forth. But the goal is to be with the people that you love. The money just removed the obstacles. So what I want you to do is to sort through your beliefs about what money is, what money means to you, what it means when somebody gets rich, and to see how many of them have negatives attached to them. If you did not grow up in a family that was a healthy, loving family that was also abundant financially, you almost certainly have negative beliefs about money. And I think that, Rachel Rogers, I don't have to agree with everything in her book to think that the woman is brilliant and she's right on and that she has a lot to offer. And so I definitely recommend that. Let's take a look at the last couple of things. And this is painful. Look at your money. Have you checked your bank accounts today?
Yeah, I have to check them most of the time. I'm right now,
Good.
my finances are based on gig work. And I don't know that I've ever shared this information, but my husband is amazing. He owns a house in Fargo that his daughter and my grandson lives in. So they pay the mortgage to me. And that's
So
yeah,
so
and that's
look,
I get that as well
you're
as my gig job.
you're part of the gig economy, which means that it's it's a little clearer to you than it is to most people that your income is based on how good you are and how good you are at convincing people that you're good and that they
Mhm.
should trade their money for your skills and energy. So
Absolutely.
it's continuing to improve the quality of your offering, and continuing to improve your networking. Your network is your net worth. And improving your capacity to market and sell. This marketing and sales is a discipline in and of itself. Very few people have more than a surface understanding of it. The psychology of marketing is deep, 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 deep. And if you're going to be part of the gig economy, studying how do you get people, marketing is finding the tribe of people who need what you have. Then communicating to them the potential value of what you have, how you're going to solve a problem in their lives or increase the pleasure in their lives. So let me ask you a question. Does your product or service relieve pain or increase pleasure? It's going to be one or the other.
It increases pleasure.
Great. So that means if it's increasing pleasure, what a service you're giving to the world. That you should be able to wake up in the morning feeling like I'm going to make someone's life better today. Not how do I make a sale, but how do I improve the world? And learning how to communicate your value is a service to the world then, because you're genuinely interested in making people happy. The only way, if you do that, they will exchange some of their time and energy for some of your time and energy. It becomes a natural, normal, healthy, emotional, community, spiritual experience where you are every day sharing from the essence of who you are and helping other people have better lives. Isn't that better than, God, I have to sell some stuff today?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's why I could never, the idea of going to a 9 to 5 is not an option because I put aside everything that I've always felt. I remember for what I want to do now that I was doing it for other people for free, kind of back in the mid 90s, back when I lived in Georgia. And it just keeps coming back. It keeps coming back. So now that it's here and I'm kind of in a place where I can live my, my dream, which includes writing and providing goods, it's perfect. I mean, I went was it last November of 2023, I went and took the content writing course with Cornell to get my content writing certification. Because I wanted to make sure that I knew how to communicate. And then after that, um, my friends who own a luxury eyewear line, they, they added me on as their brand content manager. So I write their newsletters, I write their product descriptions, I write their blogs, which is something that I like to do because it's a product that I love. I love eyeglasses. Like I have too
Oh,
many pair.
okay. So let's walk you through this
Okay.
because you're in a good place here. I'm glad that I chose you. What is your map of action here? Who is your model for success? Let's say that we want you to be rich so that you have so much money that money comes a way for you to help your family. Money becomes a way for you to serve your community. It's not a matter of avoiding pain. It's not even a matter of these vacations, which are great. It's a matter of actually being able to be of service. Where's your map? How clear a map of action you have so that every day you know the step to take? How clear is your map?
My map, I feel, is 100% clear. It's so
Fantastic.
clear. It's so clear. It's just me taking the steps. It's getting procrastination out of my vocabulary and out of my life, or whatever it is that happening that's, not making me process the steps that I need
Okay.
to. But I have to tell you this. Every time that I come to these meetings, and which I, make sure now that it's permanently embedded in my on my calendar, it's that every time you're talking about something, it's like, wait, that's just the thing that I woke up this morning about. Is it magic? Or
No,
is it
well, I'll tell you what it is. It's that you are smart enough to go where you need to get what you need. Okay,
Mhm.
so to the degree that the journey that I'm walking resonates with you, then the things that I'm dealing with will resonate with you. That I can be specific about my journey, and my journey is just a human journey. Tanana Reeves' journey is just a human journey. That she and I saw each other and we recognized each other as twin souls, as that energetic thing. It's like, oh God, we can do this together. It's luck, it's magic. It's also what happens when you go deep enough to realize that the things that stop us are stopping all of us. It's nothing different. Empathy is understanding. It's seeing that. So I am grateful. I'm very grateful to be able to be of service to you. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So next step, it sounds like you're taking action. How much action on a scale of 0 to 9? How much action are you taking every day?
As of, well, it would have to be around a 2 because I've made my plan. I printed it out. I have my whole notebook on all my a workbook on everything I need for my business. And
And a
I've
two is
just
good.
been yeah,
Look,
2
as
is good.
long as you
It's
have.
just, I have right now we're packing the house to go to Fargo for the summer. And
Oh,
I'm
that's
thinking
cool.
about that constantly. I'm like, what do I need to do to make sure we don't leave anything? And we're ready for the trip. And yeah,
So,
just all of that.
so be sure you're. Let me ask you a question. What are you doing every day to deepen your skills at the thing that you're selling? How are you getting better? Because you want to get good at that. You need to aim at being one of the best. Why settle for anything less than mastery? I mean,
Well,
seriously.
absolutely. Thank you. So I'm organizing my product in a manner that I know what I'm going to start off with to, as far as goods go, what I know I'm going to start off with. I'm looking for a manufacturer to see that I can connect with um, to make the process easier. For example, just even this morning while I was in bed on Instagram, there's a guy that went on and it's like, look, if you want to make this, go to this website and then you can, and then use your original thing on Canva and then you can connect with that website to produce your product. So I'm like, oh my God. So like you, and I'm so glad that you brought this up, I use OneNote. OneNote is like my saving grace. I've been using it for years too. Right now I'm using OneNote, listening to everything you're saying and typing it down because it
So
helps me. It helps me.
I caught an implication of
Mhm.
your marketing strategy of finding the people. There was some implication there, but I need to make sure that every
Mhm.
day you're taking one more step about being a better marketer, a better salesperson. Just a tiny step. Watching one video on YouTube. There's tons of stuff out there. So you should know who your marketing guru is. Who are you studying? Who has the knowledge? Just look for that. Just get better at that because that'll take your map or model over there. That'll take up a number. Because remember, as long as you don't have a 0 in any category, you're fine. You're going to improve by at least 1% a week. But we want you to improve faster than that. So in terms of gratitude, I can already tell. We've already talked about this. If every day you think to yourself, what are you going to do today to move your life forward? And what are you going to do to make the world a better place? That would be in alignment with your values. You are a person who feels some gratitude for who you are and where you are in life. The way your face lit up talking about your husband told me that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like you feel blessed to have a partner who's a genuine partner, and you listen to people talking about their lack of that, and you bleed for them. And because you know that it is possible to find someone who loves you, who sees you, who treasures you, who protects you, but also sees your strength. That is one of the great blessings of the world. So what I want you to do is to start every day connecting with what you're already grateful for, and then you get to go out and make somebody else's life better, which sends a ripple out to the world. When you're doing that, you don't have to worry about the headlines. All we need to make the world a better place is everybody being happy and working to help the people on either side of them happy. That's all it takes, because that spreads like yeast in bread dough. So you've got that, and I'm happy for it. How clear are you on your specific financial goals? And remember, goals are dreams with deadlines. What, how clear? I don't need to hear what your goal is, but do you have it clearly? And do you look at it every day?
I actually, it's so I was getting clear on it this morning, because those kinds of things just keep coming my way out. And it's something that I used to always practice, and I'm like, well, why am I not doing it? And it's handwriting down my goal specifically to what I want and reading it out loud every day.
That's
So
fantastic. And believe me, that is one of the things that got me going. It's goals, and then this is what I'm going to accomplish. I don't necessarily think about my goals every day, but every day I think about my role models, who are people who spontaneously do the goals, do the things that reach the goals. So I don't have to think about being, my martial arts goals if I think about my martial arts instructors and role models. I don't have to think about my writing goals if I think about Larry Niven and Octavia Butler and William Shakespeare. I don't have to worry about it. It's right there. So it's knowing what you want to accomplish and then having clarity on the path between where you are, and then being clear on the kind of person who you would need to be in order to walk that path every day. You just wake up in the morning and this is what you do because this is who you are. That Having that anchored it's like I don't have to think about working out. Working out is just what I do. I don't have to think about writing. Writing is just what I do. I don't have to I don't have to think about being a husband or father, but I do. I mean, I think a lot about how can I be the best father for my son, my best father for my daughter. How can I? Tananarive is carrying the football right now. This is her time, and the world is seeing her beauty and her power. So the best thing I can do to move my family forward is to make sure she knows I have her back. Period. 100%. Is there a part of me that kind of wishes, oh, I wish I was getting that kind of a day? Of course I do. But it has nothing to do with who she is and nothing to do with how much I love her. And she has to know that every day because women often will hold themselves back because their husbands are intimidated by their power. That's that's one of the unfortunate things about the way relationships can work. So I feel deliberately make sure that I feel profoundly grateful to have a woman of her power and beauty in my life. Okay, the C is, who are you? And are you the person who is in alignment with the actions that will take you to your destiny? Are you that bitch? As simple as that.
I'm that bitch.
There you go.
I'm that bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. It's remember I talked about how you have to have an open heart and a wolf, and a
Yeah.
killer ape in the cave behind you. The world will eat you if you're not careful. Once you have a little beauty, a little power, the predators start coming. And if you can't defend yourself, and if there's not a part of you that understands that there are people who will do that, you will get eaten alive. So your core has to be both beauty and power. Escape suffering, embrace joy, be of service. Speak and do only what is honest and kind and useful. And sometimes it's useful to have teeth. Never forget, I have raised dogs, I have raised cats. Both male and female dogs and cats fight. They have claws and teeth, and they remember that. Humans will play a game of pretending to be either more powerful than they are or less powerful than they are. I embrace you to go into the core of your being so you can find the part of yourself that can create beauty for the world but has the power to protect it.
You know what that just reminded me of? I did finish Parable of the Sower, and oh my God, I can't wait to read the next. But I can't think of her name, the lead character.
Octavia? Oh,
Um,
yeah, the lead
yeah,
character.
Octavia Butler's, but the daughter, the main character of the story.
I'm not going to be the one to remember.
Oh, I can't remember her name, but she towards the end, she was powerful. She was very smart, and but she had to kind of, her father kept her kind of like, I don't know, just kind of kept her to be humble. But she was smart and she knew what to do. And so when her father died, she wanted to get people together to rebuild community. And she had the tools to do it. And she was always learning. And and that's what she wanted to do. And so I was like, wow, I'm thinking of her in the sense that I want to learn everything that I can about, surviving in what I want to do, but also thriving. Um, and having a community like this, and also like I love going to Fargo because my son's kids, they're just the most wonderful, beautiful, positive people I've ever met in my life. They're just
Oh,
beautiful people.
look at that. Now that sense of
Yeah.
gratitude, both that you have them and that you have the resources to be with them. That
Yeah.
if you start your day with that gratitude, you win. It's already a successful
Yeah.
day. Now go out and work your ass off. And at the end of the day, look back being grateful that you had the strength and the clarity to work your ass off, but being able to laugh at the fact that you started the day with what most people think they have to work all day to get. That it's
Mhm.
like I had lunch with a multimillionaire just a few days ago, and I was talking about the fact of gratitude and how important gratitude is. That for all of his wealth, if I took his head and stuck it in a bucket of water within 20 seconds, he would give every dollar he has for his next breath of air.
Wow.
And the next breath of air is free. When you would give all your material things for something else, that thing is more important. What we really need in life is free. The things we need in life most is the clarity to see that. Once you see that, then you can go out and make all the money you want and you're keeping track and you're having fun and you're playing the game. But if you're operating from desperation, from pain, then there's a real problem. It's that if you're motivated by pain, then you take actions, and the more actions you take, the more the pain drops, which means that your motivation drops, which means you get back into a negative cycle. On the other hand, if you can find, I want to give to my nieces and nephews, I want to provide for my family, I want to touch the world, then the more successful you are, the more pleasure you get. So making that shift from operating from fear, which is where we all start, to operating from joy is one of the most important switches you can flip. And I am very happy for you.
Yeah.
And thank you. And thank you
I'm
for letting
happy
me
that
spotlight you.
you're thank you. I'm just really, again, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but I'm just very happy that you have this platform, and this is a great
It's
community
fun.
because
I love this platform. I love the life writing platform. The social media space that is free of politics and it's nothing
Mhm.
except how do we move forward together as a community. And anyone willing to move forward as a community is welcome there. The human race, we can't isolate people. We all we can disagree about what are the best actions to take, but I think that all people of goodwill need to come together and have these discussions. So, please, everybody, it's a totally free site, www.lifewrite.com. And thank you very much, Leon. And I'll talk to you another time.
All right, thank you,
Let,
Steve.
you betcha. Okay, let me see who's going to be next. Who's going to be next? Bum, 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 bum. Jamie, you've always got something interesting to say.
Do you mean Jaime?
Jaime, I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah, hi
sorry.
everybody.
Please forgive me.
I'm in my happy place. The weather's nice. The first big spring plant sale of the year for my perennial nursery is next Saturday. So I stand to make probably $2,000 next Saturday. And I'm here busy potting up the seedlings that will help me do that.
You're in your bliss, buddy.
Yeah.
So tell me about a moment that you felt yourself shifting to a higher level of integration. And just for specificity, using the techniques we're talking about here. You're a big boy, you're an adult, you grew to adulthood before you'd ever heard of me. So I'm not taking credit for that. But because we're talking about a very specific set of tools, let's say the magic formula. Tell me about a moment that the magic formula worked in your life in an unexpected way that was delightful.
Well, it's turned into an ongoing multiple times a week sort of thing where by having a fairly narrow focus on the techniques, whether it's the 5 minute miracle, the morning magic hour, morning routine, um, taking care of some physicality, the addition of a sentence a day as a writer, these little simple things, as I do them daily, start to create a whole new pattern in my own life where I'm living here now in the moment, doing the next thing in front of me, going from moment to moment to moment, but I'm not getting trapped in future tripping of the planning, and I'm not getting tripped or hooked by unpleasant experience or memory from the past, because this is so much fun.
Now, also, I know that you're committed to being of service to your community.
Yes,
So I know that you talked about how you were going to give a talk that had to do with the potential to touch some gay teens who
yes.
are at risk for self-harm. Tell us something positive that happened there.
So I had this idea when I thought of speaking to youth that I was going to be talking to 16 to 20-year-olds. And I found out that as far as the institution that was hosting the event, youth meant 10 to 15. And I had to, on the fly, readjust my talk for a younger crowd. But even then, all of the organizers of the event and the institution that was involved were not even born in the event that I was going to be speaking about. So my original talk was more for the organizers even than it was for the. It was a really interesting thing to um, redefine my storytelling on the fly and interact with two different groups of people that both needed the information in different ways.
Now, the way you did that, I would guess, I'm going to hypothesize, is you had to find some place inside you that was a little deeper than you anticipated, some place that was generative of both routes. Is that accurate?
I think that's accurate, and I think I was more successful at delivering the talk I had prepared for than I was at reaching some of the younger crowd. I heard because I have pretty highly refined senses, and I overheard one of the young people in the audience turn to somebody else and say, "He's a bit of a diva, isn't he?" And it's like, you know, I don't have the time in that situation to develop the one-on-one friendship with that young
Right.
person to make
Yeah.
contact.
So,
But
so here's a suggestion for next time. Find a story
right,
about from your own life or the life of someone who you know clearly that takes place at the age of 9 or 10.
right. Oh, good
Okay,
idea.
because you see, that's marketing. Is you take a
Right,
look at the hero's journey, okay, and at the point where the student becomes the teacher, they then become the old man on the mountain that the young person is meeting when they're
right.
gathering allies and powers.
I will say that when I was talking here before the event, and you gave me some ideas on how to bring it more personal and find moments of my own life that would help whoever was listening recognize that I knew what they were feeling and thinking and experiencing today. That went over really well.
Fantastic. That's really good. And I may reach out to you if you'd start thinking about it. I have been asked to make contact with some of my students and get them to talk about some, WTF moments, when you did the
Okay,
magic formula and something just popped out of nowhere. So if you
sure.
think about those, and it's I've told my advisor that I'm working with in this that it is critical to me that every word in that magic formula book be honest. I'm not interested in exaggerating anything. So you'll think about that. I'll tap into you, and congratulations. I'm going to move on to
Thank
Maurice.
you.
You bet.
Hey,
Mo.
how are you, sir?
Yeah, every time I talk to you, I always want Mo.
Well, listen, CJ is tired. We want to just take this opportunity to thank everyone in the Fire Dance Tai Chi family, the Dantai. We haven't been able to get online. We started moving today to our new place. We're
Hey,
very,
CJ.
very happy. Say, hey, CJ.
Hello.
And we just wanted to thank you, and we'll start checking back in more regularly and applying things because I didn't have to. If I didn't have some of the teachings that you've given me, some of the words I've heard from the Fire Dance family, it would have been a lot more difficult. And I truly appreciate it.
Well, you're
Thank you.
extremely welcome, and just keep contributing over on LifeWrite. You
Mhm.
have you have a lot to offer in the sense of your truth, your
Mhm.
heart. And when you learn to put that behind the right actions, you'll end up having more to offer in terms of your finances.
Mhm.
So you're at a flashpoint right now where you're digging yourself out of a hole.
Mhm.
So don't be surprised, but I have seen your creativity, you know,
Yes.
crack rats and stuff. It's like,
Hey, I want to work on crack rats and soul bones. That's the goal.
so what I want you to do is, okay, now take a look back over your last week. Did you have a zero? And be honest, did you have a zero in any of the primary arenas on
A,
any day?
a zero. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you zeroed, you had lots of zeros. So what I need you to do is to get to a one. Be sure that
Hmm.
every day you have a map of how to get to where you're going.
Hmm.
You're taking some action, that you're controlling your emotions for gratitude, that you keep your eyes on the goal. You have a goal of healing your finances.
Oh,
Healing your
most definitely.
finances will take care of a lot of this. So
Hmm.
by when, what is the amount of money you need to get in, or the reaching net worth of zero as opposed to negative, or whatever it is that you're doing?
Hmm.
6 months. I've been coming across this concept that 6 months is a very interesting time period because it's short enough to get your mind around, but it's long enough to accomplish really serious change in
Hmm.
your life. So what would it be if you said 6 months from now you're going to be in a completely different place in your finances? What would be represented by that change? What would that look like? Photograph that life for me. Tell me what that life is. What is it that on some level you believe I could do that in 6 months if I was dead bang every day? What is it? Tell me about it.
Well, dead bang every day would um you know thinking about when I worked for the Israeli consulate, that was the last time I was making around 4 to 6K a month. And I was very secure in that until the sons come, till I had to take care of my
So
boys and kids.
so is your plan, so if you were earning 4 to 6K a month in 6 months,
Mhm.
that would enable you to stabilize yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so if you said in 6 months I earn $5,000 a month.
Hmm.
Okay, in 6 months I earn $5,000 a month. Now there might be many different roads to that,
Yes.
but the point is to be earning $5,000 a month by May, June, July, August, September, October, November. By November the 2nd
Hmm.
of 2025, I, Maurice Barnes, will earn $5,000 a month. Okay. So
Hmm.
if you wrote that down and you looked at it every day, and then every day you're taking so that's, the map to that will be determined, by who can you follow that would do this. I would suggest that because money has been an issue for you, I would suggest that you're looking for a job, a career, a paycheck. That working for yourself is 10 times harder than getting a paycheck from somebody else.
Hmm.
So I can make that suggestion because I want you to be safe. But there might be something inside of you that says, no, Steve's wrong. I'm going to do this my way. I'm going to do this in this way. That's okay. You're a grown ass man. You have that right. But I would suggest, if you already know that you did that work for the Israeli consulate, maybe you can do it again. So, but what you want is a map so that every day you know the kinds of actions you're going to take. And then once you're on that road, you can always take different actions. But I want something so it's like, today, what could you do? You could call the Israeli consulate, see whether or not you can get that job back.
I
You
don't
could do
want that
that.
job back.
Okay. Okay. So what is it that what kind of job could you turn that into? In other words, if you have those bona fides, if you have that track record, if you have that experience, what kind of job could you get with that experience that would enable you to fulfill that goal, but would feel better to you?
Teaching,
Okay,
teaching.
teaching where? Teaching what?
In the APS school system and the Fulton County school system.
Okay, do you have
Right
the
now.
credentials that would enable you to do that?
Yes, I do. I
Okay,
have to put up
so
a sub and then pass the Gates test, and that's fine.
okay, so who do you need? What can you do today to take a step in that direction? Who can you call? Who can you
Um,
email? Who can you visit?
I've already emailed people this week who are fraternity brothers. One is a principal in a system, and one is connected politically, state of Georgia Democratic Party, and
Okay,
he wants
so
me to
what
do
can you do
consulting.
today?
Well, today I'm moving, so
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So what you could say is that today you gained greater clarity by talking to Steve and visiting.
yes.
That's okay.
Mhm.
So then gratitude. I know that you're a man who feels gratitude, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about that. But what can you do to increase that level of positivity? To have even more of that sense of the world as a place that can provide for you and will see you, and that if you give your gifts to the world, it will help you support your son in a responsible and empowered fashion. What can you do? How's your first hour of the day? Are you inputting positive video? I mean, once again, I keep going back to YouTube because I love it, and like every day I do exercises in the morning while a YouTube video is playing, something positive, about, the 10 things you can do to get rich, or 10 ways to heal your emotions, or the 5 most important things you can do for this. Every single day I do this. Every single day. I think we all understand that if every day we listen to negative things, it would trash our lives. Okay. So why are we resistant to the idea that listening to positive things can uplift us? So I want you, because it doesn't take any more time. You have to do at least 5 minutes of crawling or something like that, just to
Mhm.
kind of get your body warmed up. If you're moving, especially, you don't want to tweak your back. You don't want to hurt your hips moving something. So while you're stretching, warming up, find a Jim Rohn or Tony Robbins or Brendan Burchard or Les Brown video and play it while you're stretching and getting yourself ready for the day. Input, input, input. Clarify those goals. Write down by 6 months. This date in 6 months, you're going to have a job earning $5,000 a month, or you're going to be earning $5,000 a month. Then you look for every day. You're going to be looking for a different way to make that happen. Just a different way to make it. How can I do that? How can I do that? And then what you have been through would have to have damaged part of your sense of self and
Oh, yeah.
agency and power. And, I've seen your pain about that. So be sure that you're making contact with the part of you that is the immortal man, that is the immortal father, that is willing to do anything to protect your cub and anything to move through life with power and integrity. That the meaning of life is to escape suffering, embrace joy, and be of service. And there is a part of you that understands that with crystal clarity, that this is who you are. This is what you must do. CJ is watching you. He needs, if a father he admires who lets nothing stop him, who loves life and loves him, can look in his eyes and say, I believe in you, son. That that is the protein that his heart needs to grow. That a good man, a strong man, looks at him and says, you're my young man. You're not a
Mhm.
boy. You're a young man, and we are a family together. That thing is something only a father can give a son. A mother can give him love. A mother can tell him that she's proud of him as a man, but she can't do it from man to man any more than a father can give that to a daughter. Okay, so you be the man. You use whatever it takes to motivate yourself to make contact with the part of you that is eternal, that is immortal, that will be with your son forever. Do not forget the face of your father, as Stephen King would say. And by that, I mean the good parts of your father. the
Yes.
part of him that did the best he could. And if he could not do everything he could, remember, he took damage and his father took
Oh,
damage.
yes. Oh,
And
yes.
every generation has to block a little bit of that damage to make the world
Mhm.
just a little bit better so that your son is fighting his fights and not yours. My son will not fight my battles. He will fight his battles.
Yep.
And I want you to just to commit, as you already have, to stand up and be that man. Be that man for your
Mhm.
son, for yourself, for all the fathers who came before you and all the ones who will come after you. You are not the weak link in that chain.
Mhm.
You
And
understand me?
yes, I do. I mean, it's just like I played to CJ, a show I used to watch as a kid a lot. I used to love Bill Bixby show, The Courtship of Eddie's Father, and that
Oh,
theme
wonderful
song.
show.
Let
Let me tell you
let
about
me
my
tell you
best
about my
friend.
best friend. And then that
That's right.
line with right where
That's
son
right.
you're talking man to man or son to son.
Yes, that's right. So I'm talking to you as one father to another, as one man to another. You have never understood how powerful you are.
Thank you.
You have never understood how powerful you are. And I'm telling you that you're more powerful than you could have dreamed. You're powerful enough to scare people around you who are not in touch with that power. You
Hmm.
have creativity, you have passion, you have integrity, you have love. And I want you to take all of that and put it into this day of moving.
Yes.
And then tomorrow, I want you to check your goals morning and night. Tomorrow, you check those goals again. But before you ever do that, give gratitude for another beautiful day of life, another day to guide your son, another day to get it right, another day to move forward. Then, with that gratitude, move into your world and be of service to humanity.
All right.
All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Fire Dream.
All right, Mo. This is great. God, I love doing this. It's just the best. It really is. All right. Do we have time? Is there one other person to raise their hand who wants to ask anything or put anything out there? I'm willing to. Shikaja? Is Shikaja there? No? Okay. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Evelyn Jaka.
Hi, Stephen.
Hello, Avalon.
See,
How
happy
how are
Friday.
you, sweetheart?
I'm good. I'm just working away. I have a big win for myself for the past month. I started April with just planning on submitting one story, which I did end up submitting on Wednesday, which was the deadline, but I ended up submitting a total of 5 stories for the month. Um, oh, you're muted, Stephen.
All right. So the pattern that we have you on is write at least one sentence a day, write one to four short stories a month, polish and submit at least one of those stories. Don't rewrite except to editorial request. Read 10 times what you write and complete this pattern 100 times. This pattern has never failed anyone. Okay, because you have to become the kind of person who can do that. And so it's little bits at a time. So you got to the point where you're submitting damn near a story a week.
Yeah.
Okay, you are. This is perfect performance. I'm so proud of you. Tell us something that you've learned about yourself in this process, because there's somebody listening to this who wishes they could be you. So tell them something that they might not expect to hear from you, something that would help them follow that path. You have the power at this moment, Avalon. That perfect performance. Help somebody else with it. Let's hear it.
No, I think it really comes down to that sentence a day. And I think that has really been the key here is ensuring that I am working on something new, one sentence, one new sentence every day, or revising. I've also given myself, like, if I'm not writing a fresh sentence, revising 5 sentences as my kind of trade-off. It's not new.
Proof's in the pudding, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You're a grown ass woman. I expect you to modify what it is that I'm saying, but I'm telling you that the way you've modified it works. You took an over the counter aspirin or Tylenol and turned it into a prescription drug. So it's like you're diagnosing what you need, and pretty soon it'll just be vitamins. You just take them, and it's just maintaining yourself. So what you're saying is the most important thing was the notion of a sentence a day. Just that intro, fantastic. Now, how have you applied that same notion to your physical body?
I haven't been great about that this month.
Okay.
And it's my own fault, but I do get out and walk with my dog every day.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
No. That's, as long as you don't have a 0, I'm
Right.
off your back.
Yeah.
Because if you have a 1 in that category, but you have a 5 or a 6 someplace else, you're motoring. You're motoring. Okay. What about your heart, your emotions? I already feel like I know what you're going to say and that you're doing fine. But what would you say about what is the equivalent of a sentence a day for your emotions?
I mean, even that sentence a day for me, it goes towards those emotions, because the writing is what I want to do. I professionally am writing about not really what I necessarily want to be writing about, what I'm passionate about. I write about commercial real estate for work. So
Uh huh.
I'm doing it. I'm finally using my degree every day. I'm in it every day. I know what I need to do. I know what's ahead of me every single day. And I'm just happy that I am using that degree, because being a professional writer and getting back into journalism, when I graduated, I didn't really, I was disillusioned with the industry. And so I took some time away, and then it was really hard to get back in, because everyone wanted, 5 years of experience, at least in Denver. And maybe if I was in Chicago or New York or California at the time, it might have been a little bit easier, maybe some more jobs, but I'm I get to work from home. I get to manage myself. I don't have someone over my shoulder every single day. And I think that has been really instrumental for me, for being comfortable in my job.
Okay. So what I want you to do then is to simply think about your blessings. Think about all these good things that are happening. That's it. Just that smile that you have right now when you first wake up in the morning. Okay. You check your goals, give gratitude, get into your day. What are the 3 tiny little things you can do? You could write 1 sentence. You can walk your dog, and be happy. You have a healthy dog. One of these days you're going to wish you could walk your dog,
Mhm.
and just be grateful for it now. Don't wait to, anything, just be aware of time in that sense, and let your heart rejoice in a day of life with the puppy that you love. I mean, seriously. And then being able to write and being able to move towards your destiny. So you're doing something physical, you're doing something emotional, and you're doing something that is connected to your finances. That's a good day. That's a good day. And when you can give thanks at the end of the day for a great day, that gives you more faith that tomorrow could be better. It's like, hey now, this is great. Well, that's fine. And thank you. Thank you very much. You're being an inspiration.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
giving me a map, to use your words, a map for how to achieve that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's like all I can do is speak honestly about what Tananarive and I are going through and then how we're doing it. And then you decide whether or not that sounds good to you. Trust your instincts. All right. So we have come to the end of the day today. I would like everybody to unmute yourselves and say goodbye.
Thank you again,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye,
Love you all.
Everybody.
I know
Bye.
that you guys have been doing good
Bye.
stuff to support each other over in chat, and
Say
some of
bye,
us have.
Ripley.
Oh, there's a
This is
look.
Ripley.
Hello,
Bye,
Ripley.
Lily.
Hello, Ripley. Oh, that's great. I love puppies and kittens. I really do. Listen, folks, I mean this with all the sincerity in my being. The divinity within me salutes and acknowledges the divinity within each and every one of you. Never forget that. Namaste. Take care. Have a
Namaste.
wonderful weekend.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
You too.